Down on the 5 freeway now, we are just coming up into the Valencia-Santa Clarita area. This all started with the Orange County Sheriff's Department in Lake Forest that tried to pull this vehicle over for what they suspected was a possible DUI driver. Now we're waiting word from the Sheriff's Department, Orange County Sheriff's Department, what gave them clues that this driver might be under the influence. The pursuit was on northbound on the 5 freeway, came all the way from Lake Forest into Irvine, into the Tustin area. Once they got into Anaheim, they handed it off to the California Highway Patrol. They picked it up as it came all the way out of Orange County through the Los Angeles County area, moving fairly at a steady pace here. The pursuit all the way has been about 65, 70 miles an hour in the number 1 or number 2 lane here. Now, the CHP has handed this off to their Newhall division. You can see they have pulled into this. It is handed off to several other divisions coming through downtown Los Angeles, through the San Fernando Valley to where we are at this point. At one point through the northbound 5 freeway around Hollywood Way, around the Bob Hope Airport, traffic was coming to a standstill due to construction in the area. Traffic was being pushed off down to 1 lane. The driver did his only erratic thing that we've seen throughout this pursuit. He went into the cone zone area and was in the number 2 lane and passed narrowly right alongside Caltrans workers that were working in the HOV and number 1 lane. And then once he cleared that, traffic cleared up, and he was able to pick up speeds once again to 65, 70 miles an hour here. So now we're northbound on the 5 freeway, coming up on Magic Mountain Parkway. Speeds have been steady throughout this, and once again, not much of an erratic driving. It has stayed in the number 1, number 2 lanes throughout this entire pursuit as it started from the Orange County area.
Well, you know, at one time, Kevin, we understand that this vehicle had the lights off, but now it looks like, well, apparently the headlights are on. What kind of traffic situation is up ahead?
Right now, everything is wide open up ahead. Traffic on a Tuesday night here, relatively light. The other traffic is kind of being held behind the pursuit at this point. They're running a traffic brake, holding all the traffic behind the pursuit. It is still only moving about 65, 70 miles an hour, but luckily throughout most of this pursuit, the speeds have been relatively light. Now, still holding the number 2 lane right there. The lights did just come on just as we were coming through the Newhall Pass. The driver turned the lights back on. There was a time between the 535 and the 134 all the way through the Burbank area that he actually turned off the headlights, but now they can see that they are back on. Only one light looks like it's on, and it's pointing almost towards the ground. We don't know if that right side or the front has been damaged. If that was the clue to the Orange County Sheriff's Department that this driver might have been involved in some kind of hit and run, but there was something that that clued them in as this was a possible DUI driver at the time, but we haven't seen any erratic driving here throughout this entire pursuit when we first picked it up as it came northbound on the 5 through the Norwalk area.
And Kevin, at one point, if I'm not mistaken, there was some consideration given to laying down a spike strip, but that was ruled out. Why was that decision made?
Well, the freeway is still 4 lanes wide here, and CHP officers haven't had a good opportunity to where they can get into position ahead of the vehicle and try to lay out some spike strips, because it does include 4 lanes here, and there is still enough traffic that is still traveling on the freeway behind the pursuit here and up ahead that is kind of moving there. So laying a spike strip down across 4 lanes here and trying to get them out of the way before the other traffic came back into that would be difficult. So they are staying back. Speeds have not dropped down too low, except in the construction area we saw earlier through the Burbank area to try and effect a pit maneuver. But at that point, they had too many other cars, too many civilians in the area. If they had tried to effect a pit maneuver within that construction area, it could have turned around and taken out several other cars that were at almost a standstill through the construction zone. So the pit maneuver is out now that speeds are back up to 65 miles an hour. And the spike strip scenario is also out at this time due to the size that is still a freeway here that it's considering that it holds 4 lanes, so it's difficult for them to get into a good position and into a safe position where they can try to deploy those spike strips.
Well, we know this is a Nissan Maxima, so you wonder exactly how much fuel this car contains, seeing that it started in the Lake Forest area in South Orange County, just how far it could go. We obviously don't know if it started with a full tank in the first place, and it makes you wonder if they're just going to let this play out until this person runs out of gas or just decides to give up at this point. If he's not, or if he or she, I don't believe we've identified the gender of this driver, but regardless, doesn't seem to be driving erratically right now or causing any undue problems on the freeway, just evading police.
Yeah, as we pass the northbound on the 5 freeway here, passing Hazley Canyon, they are just planning at this point just to sit back on this, continue the pursuit, try to keep other traffic away from it at this point. But we're going northbound on the 5 freeway past Hazley Canyon here, and if it continues farther, we're going to start getting into the Castaic area. They may lose. Trying to listen in to see, they may lose their airship as they go northbound on the 5 freeway, and we may as well, because there's because of the darkness as it goes northbound on the 5 freeway. So ground units still holding on to this. We're going to try to stay with it as long as we can as they head up the 5 freeway into the mountains. But so far, speed still remaining 65 miles an hour as they have throughout this entire pursuit that started around the 9:30 time frame.
Yeah, I remember one of these, Pat, not too long ago, within the year, where the person went up through the grapevine, and we, of course, had to lose coverage because with our helicopter. But they followed him. I think they arrested him just on this side of Bakersfield.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once they're on the 5 freeway, they can just keep going on forever.
And he just went as far as he could go.
Yeah.
And as you say, we lost our signal, and they arrested the person. Well, right now, obviously, if he is driving under the influence, that's a charge, as well as, of course, evading police. We don't know what else he could possibly be wanted for. As Kevin mentioned, could be damage to the vehicle that actually brought the attention of the Orange County Sheriff's Department. So we will see. CHP is still following this vehicle, and the airship is overhead. And as Kevin mentioned, it's very dark, and even darker considering where he's going, heading north on the 5 freeway in the Castaic area. So certainly not a lot of vantage point in lighting out there.
Who was that passing him right there? Oh, look at that.
That was another CHP unit. They are trying to slow as much. They are trying to slow as much traffic as they can behind them. There is still some discussion about trying to set up some spike strips farther ahead, and that was one of the units that was trying to get ahead of him and try to maybe set that up. But
Kevin, did it come up alongside with its lights off?
Trying to get in there.
Kevin, did that CHP?
He did pass him alongside there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
they could
the
possibly do a
CHP
pit maneuver.
SUV did pass right alongside him.
Could they possibly do a pit maneuver, you wonder? I guess depending on the speed of the vehicle. Certainly,
No,
if there are other vehicles.
the speeds are still too high that they can try to do a pit maneuver. It's still they're still doing about 65 miles an hour here, but it sounds like they're trying to get a good look. It sounds like they are trying to deploy some spikes up ahead here, see if they can get him out in front of him here as he's holding the line here. But at the lower crossing here, they're going to see. Let's see if we can see those spike strips that they're trying to lay down. But they are holding as much traffic in because the Parker on-ramp is Parker Road was the last on-ramp here before as they start climbing the hill. So you're going to see if they were able to successfully try to hit it with some spike strips just a little bit while back there. So you can see he's kind of alone there. It did look like you saw there was a flashlight down there. They're trying to pull the spike strips down. We're trying to get word now if he did hit him or not.
And got to be very careful, obviously, because it's dark out there. So certainly, officers want to make sure that they, proceed with caution as well, instead of by standing out, stretching out those spike strips on a dark freeway like that.
And the other thing is, he's been going about 65, 70 miles an hour for quite some time now. He really hasn't gone much faster than that since we've been watching this, Pat. And part of that may be because of that situation involving his headlights. It does appear to be just one headlight. It is aimed very low, and that certainly doesn't give him a good look at the highway in front of him.
You know what? There aren't any off-ramps ahead of it here. He's past the lower crossing, which is at the point where the north and south lanes kind of do a switch here in the mountains. So, the next off-ramp he's going to come up to is going to be significantly farther up to the north, kind of up towards the canyon areas, farther up towards where Quail Lake is. So right now he's on a shot climbing the hill here, going northbound on the 5 freeway. We're going to try to keep this in our picture as long as we can. We're holding our position right along Castaic Lake. That's about as far as we can go because because due to the fact that we're losing our light and we're losing our reference here of where we can see the ground. So we're staying right about where Castaic is. We can keep eyes on it for quite some time because there's a lot of you can see there's just pretty much a lot of road, and all you can see is following those just following the lights as they make their way up to the north. But as far as airships, it sounds like the sheriff's airship is going to pull off in about 2 minutes as well here due to darkness.
Now, what else is above the vehicle? Do you see CHP ahead of this vehicle that could possibly try to maneuver and lay some more spike strips down? Are you able to see that?
Listening to them, yeah, listening to them, they don't. It doesn't sound like they may be trying to get some units if this continues here in the Fort Tejon area to try to set up some spike strips. But he's about 20 minutes out from the Fort Tejon office. If this continues to go on here, they are trying to get those units into position because the freeway does narrow a little bit. It narrows to about 3 lanes as you make your way on the northbound 5 freeway before you start your descent into the Bakersfield area. So if they can try to get those deployed, that may bring this to a stop. But still, so far, northbound on the 5 freeway, making the climb up the hill here, headed towards kind of the Pyramid Lake area. It's going to zigzag through the hillsides here, but we're going to try to keep it in sight. We'll be able to see the flashers probably for another 5 minutes here as they make your way up the hill.
Well, Kevin, what's your elevation, and tell the people at home who are watching this what the difficulties are being in the helicopter and trying to stay on top of this thing.
Well, we're about 3,000 feet here. Okay, it sounds like we've got a little bit. You saw him sliding down there. The speeds are slowing down. Listening to the ground units talking that it sounds like they were able to successfully hit one of the tires with a spike strip. So he's coming to a stop here, where he's probably at about the at the 3,000 foot level here, 3,500 foot level here. It has come to a stop northbound on the 5 freeway, kind of midway, probably about 3 miles north of the Castaic area. So officers still right behind the vehicle, but it has come to a stop due to the fact that it sounds like it's lost at least one of the tires here. They were successful in hitting it with a spike strip at this point.
Can you, from where you are, Kevin, can you see him getting out of the vehicle?
No, he hasn't got out of the vehicle yet. The sheriff's airship is still above it, trying to hold on and try to stay with it as best that they can. But it doesn't look like, nor it doesn't sound like either, that the suspect has gotten out of the vehicle. It has come to a stop here. We don't know if he's trying to still move the vehicle forward, but the ground units are saying that at least one of the tires was hit by it, has gone flat at this point.
Well, apparently it's 90 miles from where this started. That's quite a distance.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about all those people on the 5 who are behind him. You know, at least it's a Tuesday night, not a Friday night, a weekend getaway for everybody. Look at that.
Approaching.
Yeah.
You can see the traffic that is starting to build up here. CHP holding a traffic brake here.
Seems like he's moving, or they got him off to the side of the road.
No, it's still there right in the middle of the screen. He's still sitting in the number 2 lane, not moving in the number 2 lane there. So they're trying to make contact with him using their PA systems, trying to get him to come out of the vehicle. So far, as I am hearing, and I know it's really hard to see there, but he has not come out of the vehicle, or the driver, whether it's a man or woman, has not come out of the vehicle at this point.
All right, maybe I was looking at the situation of the lights. It almost looked like the driver was almost horizontal there in front of that police car, and that he or she had pulled over, but maybe not. So now we're just waiting for this person to emerge from the vehicle and with their hands up, get on their knees and
bring this thing to an end. Kevin, can you tell, have they put any light on the car from their vehicles or their spotlights?
You know what? It's really difficult to tell. You can see there's a little bit of light. We're going to crank up our cameras a little more here, see if we can get any more into it. But the sheriff's airship is still above it. It's almost about 4 miles away from our location. We are still above the 5 freeway, over near the over by Castaic Lake here. So we're going to try to see if we can get some more altitude and see if we can make a closer approach, but it's difficult at this point due to the fact that we just don't have a reference to the ground down below there. But you can see traffic backing up here, CHP holding all lanes of the northbound 5 freeway about 4 miles past the Parker exit south northbound on the 5 freeway.
Do you see any officers out of their vehicle? Do I see some movement?
Yeah, there's a couple of officers there trying to make coming up to the right side of the vehicle. We're going to snap this in real quick, see if we can get a better look here. I know we're almost about 4 miles away from the vehicle at this point. Officers making contact with the suspect in the vehicle. It looks like they're trying to open the passenger side door, see if they can get the suspect to come out.
I see at least 2 officers walking. I can't really tell from here. There doesn't seem, they don't seem to have weapons drawn.
All right, officers on the driver's side door opened up the driver's side door there, and it doesn't look like they've been able to get the suspect out of the vehicle yet, but now 3 officers, total of 3 officers there.
Well, they must know something that, you know, that he's not armed, otherwise they wouldn't have approached that vehicle.
And certainly not with their weapons drawn, and it doesn't seem to be. They seem to all be trying to either open the door.
It looks like they've got him out of the vehicle at this point. Yeah, they do have out of the vehicle at this point. Suspect, they're saying a male suspect, a white T-shirt and shorts. They have him in custody now, so they're now trying to check the vehicle, make sure it is clear of anything else. That they are starting to work him back now, walk him back towards their cars, and hopefully they can get a couple of lanes open here northbound on the 5 freeway and get the traffic moving once again. But this has come to an end here about 4 miles north of the Parker exit road, northbound on the 5 freeway. And this all did start in the Lake Forest area down in Orange County, with Orange County Sheriff's Department trying to pull the vehicle over for possibly a DUI driver of some sort. So now they're trying to move the vehicle off to the left side of the freeway there, and they're hoping to get this traffic opened up very quickly.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much.